Welcome to another edition of the Noles Podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan, for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. Today is February 16th, 2020. I got about 5 different segments here for this episode. Usually I write out what I'm going to say on my podcast, and then I just read it off and just summarize what I wrote. Today I'm going to do something different. I got my 5 different segments. Just wrote like what I'm going to talk about as far as just like a sentence, not an actual paragraph, but I'm just going to try to freestyle it and see how it works out. So, the first segment is entitled Strength and Conditioning Videos on the Internet, Florida State. My thoughts. As far as the offensive and defensive lines, I don't think Marvin Wilson participated, or I didn't see Janoris Robinson or anybody, but Robert Cooper looked pretty athletic to me for a guy his size. The offensive line, the only guy that looked even remotely athletic is Ira Henry. The other guys didn't look really too athletic to me. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I did see maximum effort or max effort from what I saw. So that's a step in the right direction. I like that Mike Novell said he wants to get the strength and conditioning to an elite level. I like that he's got the guys in different jerseys. I don't know if that's just based on your effort and where you are in their strength and conditioning program. Like, I didn't really get the full story on that in his interview that I saw on the internet, but he's slowly winning me over, man. I've said this the past couple episodes, and that the way that you build a championship culture is what he's doing now. You have to start at the grassroots, and then slowly get to where you need to be. And I like everything he's doing, man. I like what James Blackman did in the strength and conditioning. I'm trying to think of if I saw any other guys that are that were starters last season or this past season that caught my eye. I really didn't see anybody else. I like what some of the freshmen were doing. I mean, the freshmen are pretty much the future of this program right now. So to get them to come in early and do what needs to be done is awesome. So let me know what you think about that segment. I'm going to move on to the next segment, which is entitled Florida State had a lot of 5-star talent that didn't do anything at Florida State. And I'm just going to go back to 2013 and come all the way up to, we'll say 2017, because some of these 2017 guys are still there. So I don't want to say anything about them until they're actually gone from Florida State. So the guys that I'm talking about right now are no longer part of the program. They're either NFL, trying to get into the NFL, or they're in the XFL. Most of these guys are in the XFL. So first I'm going to start with Matthew Thomas from Miami. I mean, just all world. Everybody thought he was going to be the next great Florida State linebacker. Marvin Jones, Derrick Brooks, Ernie Sims, Telvin Smith, and then this guy. But he really didn't do anything. I don't know if it was because of injuries. I know it wasn't because of talent, because the talent was there. It's like I always say, man, you don't know how kids are going to, how their talent is going to transfer from high school to college or from college to the pros. Like, you can be all world in, you can be all world in high school. But once you get to college, you don't know how that is going, your talent is going to translate, because these guys, every level you move up, you can just see it even as a fan, that the talent is bigger and faster and smarter. Okay, especially when you could dominate in high school, you could be the best kid in your city, but when you get to college, especially at Florida State and really any Power 5 school, you're going against kids that all those kids were the best in their city. And then, when you get to the pros, okay, each team goes and gets the best players that they can find, So, he had a okay senior year. I think that was Willie Taggart's. No, was it Willie Taggart's first year? No, that was Jimbo's last year. He had an okay year. Then he got on with the, I want to say he got on with the Steelers, and he really didn't do anything with them. Now he's in the XFL, and I haven't seen him do anything in the XFL, or I don't even know what team he plays for. So I'm not gonna say he hasn't done anything, because I haven't actually seen him. But just a 5-star guy that didn't live up to the potential. But not to be Debbie Downer, I hope he has much success in the XFL. I hope he makes it back to the NFL and has a great career. And that's for all these guys that are on this list. All right. So the next guy, and I wrote about him on the previous episode, and it's just kind of ironic that yesterday he was able to get a interception and run it back for a touchdown, pick 6, and that's Tavares McFadden. He really didn't do anything his freshman year because Jalen Ramsey was there. He was playing behind Jalen Ramsey. But his sophomore year, he kind of, broke out a little bit. I think it was because of the pass rush. His junior year, he had a subpar year, and he should have stayed. But he came out. He went undrafted. He went to my 49ers. They cut him. I think he went to a couple of other teams, and he basically was out of the league. Now he's with the XFL. He had a great play yesterday with the pick 6, and I'm happy for the dude, man. Hopefully he can make it back to the NFL and have a great career. But as far as he didn't live up to the hype at Florida State as a 5-star recruit. Next guy is going to be Ermon Lane. His freshman year, when he played with Jameis Winston and he played wide receiver, I thought he was going to be something special, because he made some big time plays, but Travis Rudolph kind of overshadowed him. I wish he would have stayed at receiver. I thought he was a very talented receiver. He was a 5-star wide receiver, man. And he just didn't live up to the hype. He got there. Let's see. He got here. I'm looking on the internet at his stuff. Was he class of, he played 1 year with Winston. Ermon Lane. I just seen it. Okay, here we go. Ermon Lane. He's from Homestead, Florida. All right. And this guy's 6'2". He's probably 185 pounds when he got there. I mean, he was just a talent. All right. He was number 5 at his position in the whole state of Florida, and number 28 in the nation. So this guy was a player coming out. And then they moved him to defensive back. I guess he just said, I can't do anything at receiver on this team. So he moved to defensive back. He was solid. And then later in his senior year, he tried to switch back to wide receiver, and that didn't work out. So we'll see what happens. I think he's in the XFL too. I don't know what position he plays. So you got a lot of former Florida State players in the XFL. So I think I'm going to do an episode just on that. Next guy is going to be Jaquez Patrick. To no fault of his own, he played behind Dalvin Cook for 2 years, and he split carries with him Dalvin Cook's junior year. He did pretty good, man. And then when it was finally his time, Cam Akers comes, and he's splitting carries with Cam Akers. So he was all world coming out of high school, but he just didn't live up to the hype. A big back. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", 250. Kind of puts you in the mind of Derrick Henry. I don't think that offense really suit him. He should have went to Alabama. I'm just gonna say it, because at that particular time when he came out, Alabama was still ground and pound. So I think he's in the XFL too. I hope everything works out for him. My next guy is going to be George Campbell. Injury plagued his whole career. 5-star receiver coming out of high school. Willie Taggart's first year, he did a couple of nice things in a couple of games, but ultimately couldn't get on the field for whatever reason. I can look up George Campbell, man. He was all world coming out of high school, and injuries and all of that just plagued him, man. The one time or the couple of times he did flash, it was just crazy. I just thought we had something real special in this kid, man. From Tarpon Springs, Florida, 5-star recruit, man. 6'3", 183, a beast. Number 26 in the nation. Number 5 at his position. Number 10 in the state of Florida. He was a beast, man. But injuries and just other guys taking advantage of, their playing time. He just couldn't get on the field. So last guy's gonna be Levante Taylor. When I first seen him his freshman year, I thought he was gonna be a beast, man. But just the rest of his career, he had some injuries. He's undersized. When you're like 5'11" and under, you have to have tremendous speed. You have to have a 40-inch vertical. Okay, you got to be as strong as an ox to play cornerback in college and pro. Your limited height has to offset. Your other abilities has to offset your height. Because now the NFL, they want you to be at least 6 foot to play corner, minimum. So I hope this guy gets to the league and tears it up, but I don't know. He's undersized. He's not that fast, in my opinion. And we'll just see what happens with his career, man. So let me know what you think about this segment. The next segment is entitled Florida State and LSU signed a contract to play each other for 2022 and 2023. From what I read, they said it's going to be in Orlando and New Orleans, neutral site games. I just hope that this year and next year we can improve and beat those guys. That's a tremendous game, tremendous test for us. I don't know how LSU is looking at it. They might be looking at it as just like, a walkthrough. But hopefully Norvell can build his team up and we can, challenge those guys. You know what your boy Orgeron says, we'll play anybody, anywhere. Go Tigers. So he lives by what he says, man. I can respect that. So that's going to conclude this episode, freestyle episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It's available on YouTube. It's available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please scroll down to one of the links. Scroll down to the description and click on one of the links. Rate, review, and subscribe. And as always, go Noles.